our favorite Epcot lights. We talked about how large sections of this were actually roped off for being basically tripping hazards, and Disney would not want that liability, obviously, and I completely understand why. But, well, Jonas, Culture, they have a solution. Do you know what that solution might be or entail?
Does it involve a couple of day workers getting it done for you, man?
Oh boy. Well, perhaps, maybe. Here you go from Blog Mickey. Screwed! Disney begins securing in-ground lighting tripping hazards at Epcot. This from probably Mike, June 22nd, 2025. Good morning from Epcot, where we have noticed that Walt Disney World has begun securing the in-ground lighting that recently became a tripping hazard in the reimagined World Celebration Gardens. Earlier this month, we reported that a large part of the marquee in-ground lighting in the World Celebration Gardens had been blocked off to guests, likely as a safety measure. The in-ground lighting had become a tripping hazard, with the majority of the plastic strips coming dislodged from the ground, raising up to create the hazards for guests. While Walt Disney World has been battling this in-ground lighting essentially from the day that it opened to guests, that's amazing. The hazard created by the lighting had reached a point where immediate mitigation became difficult. While visiting Epcot this morning, we noticed that a number of plastic lighting strips had been secured with screws, likely a temporary measure as Walt Disney Imagineering dreams up a solution for the failed lighting package.
Oh, let's hope it's temporary. That is, I just have to say, and Blog Mickey, I think it's great that they actually ran this article. They're always very good about doing the stories that talk about repairs that need to be done at Walt Disney World. But that temporary solution, how many temporary solutions are currently in existence at this park right now?
Well, I've got a kicker for you, Jonas, because you see, you say solutions, and really you should be saying solutions, because, well, even the solution has problems. We're going to go over to Chris DeLay, who's been doing some groundwork here. You can see right here, current situation. I didn't even notice they did that. Current situation at the fancy Epcot lights, but I'm sure they will be on the game for cars. It's a good point, actually. But upon closer inspection, well, this came up right here. You see that? You see the screw? It's not even doing its job.
Is that a drywall screw? That looks like a coarse drywall screw.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so there are white screws, there appear to be silver polish or chrome screws, and there are black screws. So what junk drawer in Imagineering did they pull these out of? Or did somebody from ops just go, whatever, I'll take care of it. If you guys won't fix it, I will fix it. Really, that's what I made the joke about the day laborers. The day laborers are actually, luck of the draw a little bit there. I'm not going to claim I have a lot of experience with that, but there are plenty of people that will get you taken care of, man. That don't care about the color of the work. They don't care about the quality of the work, but you won't trip over it, amigo.
Yeah, that's a fair point right there. It's interesting that you bring up the junk drawer, because the account called the Walt Wright said this: "When I'm gone, repair the parks with whatever you find in the junk drawer." Well, that's
and the hard facts.
Some hard facts there by Walt Disney himself, right there. That is really something. Well, people were all obviously reacting to this in many ways. Kenneth Johnson here says, if you had any doubts about how low standards have fallen at the Walt Disney Company and how far removed from Walt's dreams the people in charge actually are, compare this with Walt himself picking up trash in the park and insisting on everything being perfect for guests. Absolutely tragic. Save the Magic said this: "Wow, this is terrible. Just when you think Epcot lights can't get any worse, pretty sure sinking a screw in it like that is going to let the moisture in. Yes. Perhaps they don't care since they pose a tripping hazard and don't work right anyway. At this point, remove them." I would agree. But showcase of wishes, well, he comes in with the best one. The magic of possibility. Yes. Yes, indeed. It's absolutely incredible. Culture, what are we doing? What are we on? We're almost 2 years of this now? This is just ridiculous. I mean, this is Epcot. This is supposed to be like the theme park of the future, and this is what we've resorted to.
Yeah, I would say that Project Gamma Didn't work out the way they'd planned. I would say that how many years did we look at Walcott for, and
Was
how
it
many
6 years? Was it 6 years?
It feels like 6 years. It feels like it just undercut Tron for a stupid length of time for something to get built. But we got nothing but a downgrade. Everything that they tried to do was done poorly. This shouldn't have screws, exterior visible screws at all. At least they put some whiteout on top of those. I'm just gonna say none of this seems like it works. And this is kind of what, a translucent like cutting board that they made these things out of. I forget the name of the plastic material that is, but I guess you could eat off it. I mean, as long as it's not near, the sewer central leaks that they have elsewhere in this park. There has not been a positive side of this. So if you're asking me, look, the worst case scenario, and that one seems to be most likely because it will be most entertaining, is they have to wall off this whole area, tear this all up, and do it all over again. Why would that not be there? I mean, seriously, look at that. And do you see those gaps there? Do you know how you can prevent a lot of these issues? You bury metal border in the cement work, right? Mm-hmm. In the mortar, so that you create a natural border for all of this to dwell within. And then you use outdoor construction waterproof adhesive to put all these plastic bits down into those grooves. Again, they didn't think about anything that they did here, including the materials that were used underneath. You should have the highest quality WPS rating on these LEDs that are down there, and you should never have to pull this up. This should be a once every 20-year maintenance project, and they didn't. Nobody looks to the future when they build something anymore. That's why Imagineering has fallen off a cliff. And it's why the fit and finish of things like this don't look right. It's why there's no forward thinking. They lost all of the talent that was capable of that. And nobody takes accountability. And that's, again, why you end up with, I'm going to say, those are drywall screws that have a little bit of whiteout on top of them or some white paint. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. And I didn't actually see until Vash pointed it out. And Vash always does an amazing amount of research on these. I didn't realize there were globs of whiteout or white paint on some of these. At this point, why not just paint them the colors that you are wanting them to be most of the time? This is silly when it comes down to it. National Geographic, of course, owned by the Disney company, did an entire documentary about the transformation of Epcot. That transformation apparently got us Moana, Journey of Water, Communicore Hall, and this. So they got nothing. They got nothing. I'm so glad that the Epcot Spaceship Earth light upgrade happened when it did, because we would be talking about that instead, and the panels would be falling off of that thing if it was whoever was in charge of this project doing that as well. By the way, the same company that is contracted to work on Tropical Americas is the company that was contracted to work on World Celebration Gardens, if I'm not mistaken. So I look forward to that.
Jonas, I feel like this is the antithesis of something.
Is it? Vash, is it the antithesis of something?
I believe it is.
And Dreamer's Point is the antithesis of the idea that Walt had this incredible optimism and hope for the future, that if we all work together and we all dream together, we could build the impossible and make it our reality.
However, if only they used shape language, I think that would have helped them here.
And so what we've tried to do is really bring that shape language from the architecture.
But what we love to talk about at WDI is shape language. And we often refer to shape language.
There's such iconic shape language in Spaceship Reverie Attraction. We really wanted to make sure that we fused to that throughout the space.
There you go.
Word vomit. Word vomit.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say we need to thank the Phoenicians more than the shape language people.
Well, look, if Dame Judi Dench is telling you to thank the Phoenicians, you should.
That's very true. It's very true right there. Yeah. Well, we'll be keeping track of this story right here. And I think Culture's right. I think you're just going to have to redo this completely.
You got to tear it up. Look at that. What is that material that they tried to border it with?
Going to need 6 more years, guys. 6 more years.
Yeah, 6 more years. We'll get it right.
And look,
Oh, boy.
if you wanted to make the lights replaceable, because you know that you chose very poor materials to build this out with, you would actually make it so that there were like little like latches that would spring up, so you could you release these plastic pieces, and then because these screws, I'm not kidding, this looks like you let your little 12-year-old cousin try to put this thing back together again or do repairs. It is bad. It's bad. And even those pillar lights are terrible.
You know what they should do? They ought to go ahead and they redo this, and they do the fountains that are supposed to be in that planter at the same time.
Yeah. You know what? How about you just don't touch anything ever again that is that is appreciated? Because seriously, we had this beautiful mall plaza entrance between Future World and World Showcase that allowed you to be drawn forward towards the American experience. Right, you had a very clear center of focus, which was the United States. Remember when it was cool to be patriotic and awesome, like in the 80s? The late 70s, 80s. We just had the bicentennial in 76. And let me tell you, that affected Disney everywhere, including the development of this park. And considering the time frame and the patriotism and all of the Disney merchandise, T-shirts, you name it, at the time were all centered around the United States. They were proud to have the fife and drum playing Mickey and gang, on things. If you don't remember this, you're probably not an old person like me, but all of those things existed. And again, they took out Fountain of Nations, the centerpiece of Future World. An entertainment masterpiece that nowhere else in the world duplicated until you got something similar to it over at the Bellagio Hotel. You had a dancing fountains thing that wasn't brought to you by Sparklets at some, indoor showroom at a SeaWorld. You had this amazing fountain that could do things that nothing else could, timed perfectly to music that would eventually evolve 4 times over. And now you can't even put a water feature at the entrance to Epcot. I'm telling you, I feel that the Disney plumbing company is not very good.
I was going to say, would you want them to put a water feature at the beginning of the park now? I mean, we got to be honest here. This is, it's atrocious. And again, we're supposed to elicit some kind of confidence from this Imagineering team after seeing stuff like this, after seeing Community Core Hall, after seeing the Haunted Mansion gift shop at Disneyland, after seeing all these different projects here. We're supposed to have faith that they'll be able to replace Rivers of America in a meaningful and substantial way. I don't necessarily buy it, and I think a lot of people don't buy it either.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.